Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today at the University of California, Merced. My name is Ricky Hill, and I'm the e-recruiter at UC Merced. Today's online exclusive event is focused on campus life. We do have a live panel of experts for you today. The name of our event, as you see on the screen, is Campus Life Panel for Admitted Students. This is a part of our larger series called the Admitted Student Webinar Series. We do have available recordings from past events available at admitted.ucmerced.edu/webinars. This one may also be recorded and available there for future reference, just so that way you have access to that at a later time. We've had quite a few webinars in the past, so definitely take a look there at admitted.ucmerced.edu/webinars. What I'd like to do first is to go ahead and give you a couple of quick tips so that way you can participate with us today. If you'd like to adjust your audio settings, you can do so in the lower left corner of your screen. Just click on that audio settings button and you'll see a dialog box appear, and you can make your adjustments as necessary. If you'd like to adjust the size of your window, at the top of your screen you should see view options. Go ahead and click on that option and you will see a couple of different choices to either have a full-size window or something smaller to your preference. Lastly, we hope that you would like to participate with us today in the question and answer section. That is really what this day or what this event is mostly structured around, so we don't necessarily have a formal presentation for you. We definitely are here to address all of your questions. If you'd like to submit a question to us, just click on the Q&A button that you should see at the lower portion of your screen. You'll see a box pop up where you can enter your question and send that over to us. We will do our best to answer those throughout this session, either through that Q&A module in a chat format, or we will actually address those live with our expert panelists. Once again, my name is Ricky Hill, and I'm the e-recruiter at UC Merced. At this time, I'd like to hand this over for an introduction from my colleague, Amandeep.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amandeep Singh, and I work in the Office of Admissions as an admissions transfer advisor for the North Valley region. Today, I'll be helping managing the chat. So I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Mariah.
Thank you so much, Amandeep. I'm also a transfer admissions advisor for the Southern Central Valley region. So I service campuses from Madeira down to Siracosa and Bakersfield. I'm also a UC Merced alum, graduating with a degree in psychology and a fellow transfer student. I will also be helping to manage the chat, so if you have any questions, we'll be here to answer. I'm going to pass the mic over to my colleague, Sheila, so she can go ahead and introduce herself.
Thanks, Mariah. So hi, everyone. My name is Sheila Zhang, and I'm the Senior Admissions Transfer Advisor for the Office of Admissions. I work primarily with transfer students in the Northern California and Southern California region. So with that, we're actually now going to introduce our guest panelists to everyone. So I'm now going to hand the mic to Jacob Crowsdale, my colleague, to introduce himself.
Good morning. Thanks, Sheila. What's up, Bobcats? I'm super stoked that you all have chosen UC Merced. And I am like you in that I chose UC Merced as well. I started as a student back in 2006. This is actually one of the first UC Merced shirts I ever owned. So I'm excited to wear it with you, and excitement that you're going to be joining us here in the next few months. So I work in the Margot F. Souza Student Leadership Center. It is focused on the leadership development for all of our students. And something that was really important to my growth at UC Merced was my engagement and learning about how I could impact the world in a positive way. And sometimes we use leadership as the word to describe that impact, the way that we influence others and we learn from others and work with others to make an impact. So one thing that I want to say is that anybody at UC Merced can be a leader and has the potential to lead. And so when you're coming, one of the things that you should be looking for is ways that you can engage in the leadership process at UC Merced, because you have the opportunity to make a huge impact on our campus. And we provide plenty of resources. The first place to start and find out about those resources that we offer is through the Bobcat Leadership Seminar. So look for that. It is a 4-week session that you get to attend for once a week, and is a great entry into leadership at UC Merced. So keep a lookout for that. And with that, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Haley Montoya.
Thanks, Jacob. Hi, everyone. My name is Haley Montoya. I am currently the coordinator of student involvement and developmental programs within the Student student involvement office. So I oversee fraternity and sorority life and all of our registered clubs and organizations. So also very similar to Jacob, I am a UC Merced alum as well. I graduated in 2016 and started working back at UC Merced 2018. So it's been a really great journey, and I would really echo what Jacob said. You can be a leader anywhere. Something that really helped me was being involved as a student on campus, and that's where really I found my home and found the strength to, be confident in myself and really gain those leadership skills. So really looking forward to having you on campus, and I really hope that we can answer any questions that you have about student life here on campus. And with that, I'll hand it over to Jim.
Good afternoon, Bobcats. My name is Jim Greenwood. I work with Haley in the Office of Student Involvement, and my position is Bobcat Traditions and Student Spirit. It is a new position in our office, but the programs and activities we're working on, I'm super excited because most of the Bobcat traditions, events, dances, activities, almost all are student driven. And a lot of the things we do, while we're planning on being virtual this summer, I'm very excited about the concept that so many of our Bobcats are pioneers, the traditions we do, the energy they bring to the table, the creativeness. So I'm super excited about this summer. I'm super excited about fall and just seeing what students are bringing, because it never ceases to amaze me. I've been fortunate enough to be working with clubs and orgs for quite some time and handing that off to Haley. So she and I will be working closely together, reaching out to our new Bobcats coming in and the skills that you bring. One of the things that I love about UC Merced is you can come in as a freshman or a transfer student and quickly get involved if you're willing to just reach out and ask questions and just, like Jacob said, follow these things. When you see there are opportunities out there, register for them and jump in, because these are great opportunities. And while they're all virtual right now, they will prepare you for when you come back to campus. So I'm super excited. And with that, I'm going to pass this off to Gloria.
Good afternoon, Bobcats. I'm Gloria Lagunas. I am a third-year PhD student in the Quantitative and Systems Biology program. So I'll be here to talk about research and any of you who are interested in research as well. I am also an alum here. I graduated in 2018 and went straight to my PhD. It's been a fantastic time. And I will also hopefully look forward to seeing you all as my students, because I also TA for a lot of biology classes. So I have TA'd for our past recruits. And with that, I'll be passing the mic on to Bree.
So what's going on, Bobcats? My name is Bree Janae Foster, but I go by Bree. I am currently a peer advisor in the Office of International Affairs. Also new graduate class of 2020, so I guess I can say I'm an alum now. So I'm ready to talk about studying abroad and also other study abroad opportunities that we have within our office. And I'm really excited to get the ball rolling on that, because we do offer more than study abroad access to all of our Bobcats, and also with our graduates. So, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much for all of those wonderful introductions. And so now that our participants do have an idea of the panel of experts that we do have available to you today, please feel free to go ahead and use that question and answer module. You should see that Q&A button that's available to you on your screen. All you need to do is just click on that button and you'll get a dialog box that will appear. You can go ahead and type in any type of question that you have, and one of our experts will address that during this session. Also, just to let you know that we do also have the option to respond to you through that Q&A module through a text option. So you may also be getting some responses that way as well. So this time, let me go ahead and take a look at these questions that are coming in here. So the first one that we have is in relation to orientation. So if someone can address this question, do we have to do an orientation if we are a new student?
Hi, yes, Rick. Yeah, I'll go ahead and answer that question. So yes, all new students do have to attend an orientation session. Orientation is actually now online. We will link the orientation website for you, but orientation is a must for all new students. There are sessions for transfer students and high school students as well, first-year students. So we'll go ahead and link the orientation website in the chat for everyone. But orientation is required for all new students.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that response. Let's continue on here with the questions that are coming in. Can someone give a little bit of insight as to what our dorms are like at UC Merced?
I can go ahead and take that one if you want. I used to be an RA for 2 years, and I also was a resident on campus. My first year when I got to Merced in 2015, I stayed in Cathedral. So the dorm life is really nice when you're on campus because you're meeting. Those are your first set of friends, your roommates. So those are the first people that you engage with on campus, and that you can go to other campus events with. And being on campus also relates to you being able to go to the gym, easy access to the pavilion, which I used to go to the DC way back when that was a thing. So on-campus life is definitely very, very cool when you're set up, and you can take out a lot of the stress of transportation and getting around to where you need to go. If that kind of answers the question, I hope.
Definitely. Thank you so much for that. And let's see, so we do have a question that is related to study abroad. Someone is asking if there are any additional fees that someone may have to pay if they are doing study abroad.
That's a great question. We get that a lot. So in our office, we like to break down when your out-of-pocket expenses. So for example, I did a year abroad in the Czech Republic. So my program was covered with my financial aid. But when I was in the Czech Republic, my out-of-pocket expenses are the extra financial things that you have to take care of. So when I wanted to go out to, go get some tea or some coffee or my, a lunch, go to the movies, little things like that, shopping, those are things that are at your own expense. But depending on your financial aid package, that's pretty much covered for you. But out-of-pocket expenses is something that you really want to, that is on your responsibility, on your part.
Great, thank you for that. And let's see other questions that we have coming in. So what are some of the art-related clubs that are on campus, as well as other types of campus organizations for students?
I can answer that one. So we have a lot of different types of organizations on campus. We have around 220, I believe, that are active currently at this moment. But the cool thing about what we have set up is you can start your own club or organization as soon as you get to campus. We typically have a new registration procedure that happens at the beginning of the fall semester and again at the beginning of spring semester. So that's something that you can definitely look into if you can't find the organization or club that you want to join. You can find all of our organizations listed on catlife.ucmerced.edu. You can see all of the organizations that are listed that we currently have, breakdown by category and all of that. There's also the primary contact so you can reach the current president of the organization, and you can ask them about what does it take to join the organization, and any information that they may have to start off with. For art specifically, I'm trying to think. Maybe Jim might be able to help me with this one about what organizations we have specifically for art, but we have everything from dance clubs to anime. Let's see, what else do we have? We have a few crochet different clubs like that. So there's a lot of different opportunities for you. You really just have to go and look and try and find maybe your home within those clubs and organizations. But we also have 20 different fraternities or sororities on campus. So yeah, there's a lot of different opportunities. So take a look at catlife.ucmerced.edu. So again, catlife.ucmerced.edu, and you can see all the clubs listed there.
Thank you so much, Haley. Here's a couple follow-up questions that you might be able to address as well while we're on the topic of clubs. So someone is asking about Greek life, so different sororities that we may offer, and also asking if there's some type of club rush. Okay, so sororities. So currently we have 4 National Panhellenic sororities. We have 2 NALFO-based sororities, which are Latino or Latina-based organizations. However, they're all inclusive as well for that. And then we do have a multicultural sorority, so that's Sigma Theta Psi.
And then we are working on getting the National Pan-Hellenic Council organization, so Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So we are working on getting them, and they should be starting hopefully this incoming fall. So we're super excited about that addition to our campus. And then what was the other question about that, Ricky?
Oh, is there any type of rush for the clubs?
Correct. So typically we do have a club or organization fair at the beginning of the fall semester. That may be changing based on what fall semester is going to look like. So we will still provide something, whether it be virtual or in person, depending on what restrictions we have. So be on the lookout for that for the beginning of fall semester. And then specifically for fraternity and sorority life, you cannot join a fraternity or sorority until your second semester as a first year. But if you're a transfer student, you can join that as soon as you get to campus. So if you're interested in that, you can still check out the organizations, the beginning of the fall semester, and then recruitment for those organizations will take place in spring semester as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that information. And now here's another question related to study abroad. So the question is, does studying abroad interfere with the student's graduation plan in any way?
Oh, that is a great question. It depends on what term you want to study abroad and also what year you are. So for me, I took the chance to study abroad during my 4th year. So I had to, put me back a little bit, so I graduated as a 5th year. But if you planned ahead of time, have your academics all planned out ahead of time with classes and courses that you can take and get have it transferred with you back to UC Merced, it will help your financial track. So I would say yes and no. It just depends on the path that you choose to take. So for me personally, it did affect my my graduation date, but I decided to do it anyway because it was a great experience that I will never regret doing. So I hope that answers your question. And the earliest that you can study abroad is your sophomore year. So that is, I didn't know that at the time. So if I had to, did a little bit more research, when it started and hopped into it and chose classes that I could do abroad instead of doing them, on campus, say for GEs, for example, that would have helped with my academic track. But it can affect your academic track for you.
And I'd love to support Bree's response too, because I think what she said about it being an incredible experience is really right on, and it really comes down to planning. We've been partnering with the Study Abroad Office and the International Affairs to develop a future kind of global and intercultural leadership program. And in our conversations, one of the things that's been really highlighted is that a lot of students wait till the very end when it can be a really formative and impactful experience on their academics by doing it earlier. So really working with your academic advisors and then with Bree and her team to develop your plan is the best way to go about it, for sure.
Yeah, never too early to start thinking about studying abroad. Also, you can study abroad more than once. And if I had knew that, probably y'all wouldn't even see me on the call. I probably would have been gone again. But it's all up to you.
Great information. Thank you both. So another question here that's coming in is related to the recreation center on campus, as well as the types of sports that we have. So if someone can address whether or not we have a recreation center, what that has to offer, the types of sports that we have here, and then someone else was also asking if we have a lacrosse team.
I don't work in rec, but we do partner with recreation and outdoor recreation quite a bit. We do have 2 recreation centers, the Joseph E. Gallo Recreation Center, which is the main gym. It also has a large basketball facility. We also have the Student Activities and Athletics Center, which is an additional gym, and also it has dance spaces. It houses our outdoor, Wilderness Education Center, where we actually have student rangers on campus that work for the National Park Service and act as a liaison for Yosemite National Park, as well as our outdoor experience program, which allows folks to get outside. As far as sports go, we're a part of the, I believe, NIAA conference. And we have a variety, and it looks like there are a list here. We do have basketball, cross country, soccer, volleyball. I know that in the past there was a lacrosse team. I don't know that it is currently active, but it was a club sport. There are also intramural sports, which you can create your own team on campus and play against other teams on campus, in case you're not looking at doing any kind of competitive sport. So there's a lot of variety there and a lot of really dedicated coaches and recreation staff. I don't know if anybody wants to add to that.
They also offer group fitness classes in both the small gym and the big gym. That's what I refer to them as. So they have group fitness classes. You can do yoga, kickboxing. Yeah, wow. Yeah, there's quite a few. Also, like total body, there's a cycling, and also they recently built a F45 training room. One of my best friends, she's one of the instructors there. And they also have, and F45 is an international franchise, so it's really cool that they brought it to campus to help Bobcats, just to get in there, quick break in between classes. So the gym offers, the group fitness is something that I really admire that we have on campus, because you can, go with your friends, and it's a part of the package that you get. You can pay with your CAP dollars or not. And it's really beneficial, because being able to go work out with your friends, that's also where you make new friends at, in a group fitness class or in the regular F45 training classes. So I would highly recommend looking into those as well.
We also just built a pool, which is really exciting. And they just filled it up. So that's going to be a really cool thing. We also have a club water polo team. So I know that we are still building this culture, and you get to be a part of that. So if there are things that you're interested in, working with the recreation staff and then the student involvement staff to build out experiences is something that you can do, and you can be a part of, you can spearhead, get involved.
Great, thank you both. Another couple of questions coming in about study abroad. Looks like this is a popular topic today. So let me go ahead and toss these out there. So one of them is asking what types of places or where can people or students actually go for study abroad? And then they're also asking as a follow-up, is it significantly more expensive to do study abroad, and does their meal plan transfer over?
Wow, these are all great questions. Some that I answer all the time, but they do differ depending on the program. So our study abroad currently, that I can recall, we have over 140 programs in over 40 countries, I believe. So it definitely depends on where you would like to go and where those programs are being offered. So for the meal plan question, so like I said, for your package, your financial aid package, if you get financial aid, goes with you to your host university. So that should be included in that package. Like mine was included in my package. And what was the other question? I'm sorry.
Sure. So the question was the types of places where people can study abroad, if it's significantly more expensive, and also about the meal plan, if that does transfer over.
Okay, hitting that second question, depending on what program and what region you go to, it might be cheaper to study abroad than it is to pay for a semester or year at your host university. So it definitely depends. And I have access, if you would like, to our University of California UCEAP website. You should definitely check that out. That is the website where you can start looking at the number of programs offered across all disciplines.
Great. So Bree, if you do have that URL, if you'd like to go ahead and post that in the chat feature, we can do that. We would just address it to all panelists and attendees, and then everyone can see that. So that would be great. Thank you so much for that information. And let's see, can someone talk a little bit about what it's like to work on campus?
I can talk about that briefly. So there are a lot of different opportunities to work on campus as a student. I mean, our office alone probably has, 15 to 20 students that work on our office. So it really depends. I would say the best times to look for it, for opportunities for incoming students, is probably going to be spring semester or going into the next academic year, just because there's going to be a lot of graduating students during that time. However, we are moving to a new system. I believe it's called CapPause, which isn't online right now, but it should go back online June 1st, and you can see all the different student job opportunities that are there. But it's everything from, you know, you want to work at the pavilion or dining center. I know our office, we do very programmatic things. Jacob's office is, you know, they do more leadership development and those types of programs. So there are definitely different opportunities for working on campus. You can work up to 18 hours, and you can have up to 2 student jobs, but it has to be split up between the full 18 hours. If anyone else would like to add on to that, that'd be great.
I would just say there's a very wide range of jobs on campus. Sometimes you just have to start with what you can get if you can get a job on campus. I've had interns that have started with dining, wasn't the job they wanted, but they got their foot in the door. The fun part about UC Merced at any level, almost all of our staff are geared to helping you build skills for the next level job. And that's always one of the good things. So if you can get a job, apply for them. It may not be the job you want, but you're going to still walk away with some experience, and it'll help you apply for the next job on campus.
Excellent. Anyone else want to comment on campus positions for students?
I can add to that. So as a student at UC Merced, I worked as a student office assistant. I had a few friends who worked at our student store. You can work within the dining center. You can work within our Lantern Cafe. You can work within various offices such as the Student First Center. You can work as a research assistant. There are so many different opportunities that you can apply for as a student. And they are all geared towards helping you develop skills for the future. But yeah, there are plenty of opportunities for students.
Great, thank you so much. And I'll actually chime in a bit on that one as well. So I currently manage a team of student marketers, and so they are called Media Cats. And so we do things just like this event, as well as other types of projects on campus as far as social media management, photo shoots, video shoots, things with the university mascot, Rufus Bobcat, lots of fun things like that. So we also do hire from time to time. So just take a look at the website to look out for those positions and make sure that you apply and just put your best foot forward. I know there is one other department that I don't think was mentioned quite yet, but we even have student employees that work within the police department as CSOs, which is Community Service Officer. So whenever Jim mentioned that there's a very broad range of positions, there really is. It's everything from the police department to student services, marketing, food service. So yeah, just keep a lookout for those positions and definitely take advantage of those once they are posted. And let's go ahead and move on to the next official question coming in. What do students get to do for the Yosemite program?
Cool, thanks for that. And I really quick before I answer that, I do also, the Margot F. Souza Student Leadership Center is a part of the broader Office of Leadership, Service, and Career. And something that we really push people to do and students to do is to get experience, whether that's through internships or jobs, summer, on campus, off campus. The more experience you have, the more you're going to be able to speak about your skills and the experiences you have when you're actually looking for your first career position or whatever you do after UC Merced. So I just wanted to emphasize that that last question was a great question, and just really important to get involved professionally as well, and to begin developing professionally. As far as the Yosemite Leadership Program, if you haven't noticed behind me, I've got a whole bunch of students who are all journaling. I helped to actually build the Yosemite Leadership Program as a student, and was so privileged to be able to stay and to continue to grow that, and then to continue to grow leadership programs at UC Merced. The Yosemite Leadership Program stemmed from our partnership with Yosemite National Park, which actually began before the campus really was even completed. And folks in Yosemite and at the UC were excited to figure out how do we create this really amazing partnership that has actually historical roots all the way back to when Berkeley was built and researchers first started going into Yosemite. So the Yosemite Leadership Program is a 2-year experience that is very hands-on. It's a lot of self-discovery and group discovery as far as leadership development goes. And then you actually get to have a real impact on the community around you, where you're working on a capstone project. We get outdoors about once a month, especially that first year, whether that's a retreat or indoor rock climbing or an adventure race on campus. We do an alternative spring break trip that's optional for folks to go and actually engage in kind of cultural immersion at different sites, as well as wilderness justice kind of focus. So really awesome experience. We don't require any previous outdoor experience. What we're looking for is folks that are just desiring to grow, whether that's as an advocate for the world, for their own community, and passion, desire to grow as a leader. We have applications open starting late July, early August for the 2-year program. And then we also have a summer internship that is actually exclusive. You don't have to be a part of the 2-year program to do the summer internship in Yosemite. There are 16 spots, 14 are reserved for UC Merced students, which is amazing. Students have the opportunity to work with professionals in the park in a variety of different internships. So you can choose one that fits your major. You don't just have to be an outdoor enthusiast. You can be somebody that loves IT and tech and go and do IT in Yosemite National Park. You do leadership classes on Fridays, and then after completing your project and a successful internship, you receive $2,500. And if you graduate after and you have classes after having completed the internship, and when you graduate, you can receive direct hiring authority into the Department of the Interior, which means you have a streamlined track for 2 years into a permanent position in the National Park Service, Bureau of Public Land Management, and several other agencies, which is awesome. It's one of maybe a handful of programs in the United States that has that designation. That application is open, I believe, usually late December and closes in February, March.
Great. Thank you so much for that really interesting and informative information about the Yosemite program and everything that we have to offer. That's really exciting. So it looks like we have another question related to jobs. So this person is asking, where can students apply for jobs for UC Merced? So it was touched on a bit earlier. I will go ahead and put the link in the chat feature so everyone can see it, although I know it will be changing. I believe it's on June 1st, but currently the website is jobs.ucmerced.edu. I went ahead and just added that. Now, if you do click on that, don't be surprised when it tells you that the current list of jobs is not currently available, because that new system is coming online for that website June 1st. And that new upcoming site is called CapPause. And I believe Haley may have mentioned that earlier as well. I'm not sure if anyone has anything additional to add to that, or if we're just kind of holding tight until June 1st. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next question. So this one's also related to jobs. Where can first-year students look for jobs for work study? Again, this is going to relate back to that jobs.ucmerced.edu website. That has been the site up until June 1st that has housed those. I can talk a little bit about work study. I'm not sure if the person's asking what work study is, but just briefly with my experience from financial aid, I can let you know that work study is part of your financial aid award package. So not everyone will be eligible for a work study position. So it's important to take a look at your financial aid award package, and if you see that you are eligible for federal work study and you are interested in taking advantage of that opportunity, go ahead and accept that award type. Now what that means is that when you do go to look for a position, we will have 2 separate types of job listings. One that would be for specifically work study eligible students, and the other would just be your basic on-campus jobs. Now, having worked myself in the Students First Center for several years, I would manage students in that department. And we had a combination of work study and non-work study students. They might have the same exact job title and do the same exact job duties, but their behind the scenes paycheck kind of information was the only thing that differed. So don't think of it as giving you a specific type of job that's different than someone else. It's just a matter of where your paycheck is coming from. Without getting too technical, that's really all that it's really about. A certain percentage will come from your financial aid and a certain percentage from the department that you work in. You still get a paycheck every couple of weeks, just like everyone else. But if you are eligible for that award type, it's great to take advantage of that. Once again, the current site is jobs.ucmerced.edu. You will see a link on that site that should become active on June 1st for Cat Pause. I'm not sure if anyone else wants to mention something about work study. I'll pause for a second and let someone else respond if you'd like.
I have just another comment that I think I put in the Q&A answered box. Similar to Ricky though, the Office of Student Involvement does have work study eligibility for some of our students. I believe we're allotted 3 or 4 positions throughout our office. So that's another opportunity, but again, it's the same job description and all of that as well. But as you're looking for jobs, really utilize the Career Center that we have. They can review your resumes, they can review your cover letters. So when you are applying, you kind of have that step ahead of it's already been reviewed, and they can really help you figure out what you can put on your resume and cover letter.
Really good tip, Haley. Thank you so much for mentioning that great resource we have on campus. So here's another question coming in about study abroad. So someone is asking if study abroad is available for first-year students.
So study abroad, as I mentioned earlier, first year is a great time to start thinking about it, thinking about what programs and your plan and what path that you want to take. But the earliest that you can study abroad is your sophomore standing year. So if you can technically be a first year, but if you have sophomore standing credits, then you can plan to study abroad. But unfortunately for first year standing students, they cannot study abroad.
Perfect. And I think that does make perfect sense, right? You kind of want to get a little bit more established on campus and, you know, kind of know your way around before you jump to another country, I would imagine.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And also picking your academic track too. So first years sometimes are undeclared, or like when I came in, I thought I was going to stick with science because I came out of high school, out of a biotechnology academy. So I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to stick with science. And then I get here and I'm like, actually, sociology also applies to everything that I want to learn about. And then I switched again to global arts. So you definitely want to give yourself time for that. So, and that might be a little bit more apparent your sophomore standing year.
Definitely. Great, thank you for that. Here's another question related to clubs. So someone's asking, is there a recommended amount of clubs that someone should join?
I mean, I think it's really up to you as an individual, you know, figure out how much you can handle, because some clubs are going to be more involved or more, what's the word I'm looking for? Demanding on, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to time consuming or more demanding.
There we go. Yes, more demanding. So I think it's really up to you. While I was a student here, I was really heavily involved in one organization, my sorority, but I did have, you know, a couple other club affiliations as well. So I think it just really depends on your specific organization and what you want to give back to that organization as well.
We tend to see many of our students involved in 2 organizations. Typically, they're going to be involved in a professional organization, and then typically they're involved in an organization that may be something that they've never done before, whether it be dance or something, or maybe it's a continuation of something they learned or they want to do, whether it be a volunteer group or something. What we typically tell students is it really is more of a time commitment. There's kind of this window frame around 16 hours, 14, 16 hours of commitment that we find that our students that are involved in out of the classroom experiences tend to be more successful. But then there's this window of if they go over that or way under, they're not quite as involved on campus. So, but many of our students are involved in 2 or 3 or 4 clubs. It's just a matter of what is the commitment for that club. And how often do they have to meet, and whether or not they want to be an officer in the club. If they're an officer in the club, we find a lot of our students will be in one primary.
Great. And can one of you mention again the website where people can find the majority of the club information?
Catlife.ucmerced.edu. So that's Catlife.
I also put it in the chat for all of our attendees and panelists, so take a look at it there as well.
Wonderful. Thank you both so much. So shifting gears just a bit, we do have some questions coming in about housing and CAT dollars. So is someone on the panel able to speak about CAT dollars and how someone is able to spend those?
I can talk about what I used them for when I was a student. So you can use CAT dollars to purchase items from the bookstore, such as Apple products, food, UC Merced gear, clothing, water bottles, umbrellas, things of that sort. You can purchase food from the food trucks on campus. You can go eat at the dining center. And something that a lot of students aren't aware of is that you can actually use your CAT dollars to fund a portion or all of the rest of your tuition, which is pretty cool, which is something that I ended up using my CAT dollars for.
Okay, so moving on to another question here. So this person's asking about the availability of freshmen being able to bring cars on campus.
I'll go ahead and answer that question. So currently, incoming first-year students are not eligible for on-campus parking, meaning that you won't be able to bring your vehicle. We do have a very limited number of spaces for first-year students who require frequent access to a vehicle. However, in general, first-year students are not allowed to bring a vehicle on campus.
Great, thank you so much for that information. And let's see here. I know we just had a couple of comments about some organizations here on campus. And so I'd like to go ahead and just share a couple of these slides here that I believe are kind of giving a little bit more information. Does anyone want to talk about the Campus Activities Board?
Sure, I can talk about it. So the Campus Activities Board, they are a group of about 30 to 40 students that put on kind of all of our really big, large-scale events for our students. So we have two big concerts that that happen, so fall and spring. We call it Treats of Beats, and the other one's Coachella. But they even do smaller scale events too, like Cab Day, where they've done tie-dye, and they usually give out a lot of free food. So the Campus Activities Board is housed under our associated students, so ASUCM. So similar to ASB, if any of you were involved in that, but they are a little bit separate in that they do more event planning, programming, still a lot of really good leadership opportunities as well. So if you are interested in that, we actually do have a couple opportunities. Let me go back to my notes because we just had a staff meeting, and my supervisor, Enrique, he is the one that oversees the Campus Activities Board. So if there are any transfer or first-year students that are interested in joining, there will be a happenings post that is going to be coming out. So check your email if you don't have that. And you can apply to be on it. The deadline will be July 31st for those. And they are allocating at least 10 students for incoming first years or transfer students. So that's super exciting as well. So once that information gets sent out, I'll try and find it so we can link it to this as well.
Great, thank you so much for that. And let's see, does anyone here want to talk a little bit about housing? I know we've had a few questions already about what the dorms look like, but we do just have a few students asking kind of some general questions about deadlines on when they can apply, if they've missed a deadline for that. Let me see, I think there was one more. Can you still apply to live on campus if they missed a deadline, if there's some type of appeal process? Let me see. Does anyone have any information related to that?
Yeah, so I'll add a little bit, and I'm going to link the housing website as well for everyone. The dates and deadlines will vary depending on if you are a first year or a transfer student, so the dates and deadlines will look a little bit different. In terms of kind of like the room layout, it just varies. We have different types of dorms on our campus. So some of them will have a communal bathroom where you have the rooms, and then the bathrooms are on specific locations in the hall. Some of them have shared bathrooms, so you will have suite mates. I'll also add the link in there as well for our drone tours, because we actually have drone tours highlighting what the rooms look like. But in terms of housing specific questions, I'm going to link the dates and deadlines for the housing website, and you can check those out there depending on if you are a first year student or a transfer student.
Great, thank you so much for that. So we are getting close to the 1 o'clock hour here, which we were slated to go ahead and have a 1-hour event. So let me go ahead and see if there's any other topics that we haven't touched on yet. And then just to let our panelists know, once I ask this last question, then we'll just kind of go around as kind of like a words of wisdom or a little farewell from each of you. So you can start thinking about that. Let me go ahead and see if there's anything here that we haven't touched on yet. Let's see. There is a question here. I can go ahead and touch on this one really quick. The question is, are all the apartments off campus? So currently we don't have the off-campus apartments. So all of our housing options would be the dormitories that are on campus. And just due to the amount of time that we have left in this session, if you'd like to go to that housing website, you can definitely take a look at all of the options that we have there, as well as the drone tours. We also have a little bit of a bird's eye view, so to speak, of those areas. Let me see here if we have anything else up here. Yeah, a lot of repeat questions. Sheila, do you have any information about placement exams that you can share?
Yeah, definitely. So placement exams will also vary if you are a first-year student or a transfer student. I'm going to go ahead and link the FAQ website for the Natural Sciences Advising page for that. So you can check on there, but all students, if you are a incoming first-year student, you will have something known as the writing placement exam. We'll have more information on that. You'll also have a math and chemistry exam, and there are different factors. So definitely take a look at the FAQ website, but the math and the chemistry placement exam is to decide which courses you will be taking as you are coming in as a first year at UC Merced. So it's a pre-calculus and it's a chemistry placement exam, and I will go ahead and link the website there for everyone. If you do have questions regarding whether you will have to take the exam or not, the natural scientists do have an email, so it's Natural Sciences Student Services. So we definitely recommend that you reach out to them if you do have questions specifically for your situation, as each student's case is different, and they are the experts, so they will be able to better assist you with whether or not you will need to take the math or the chemistry placement exam. Oh, and Amandeep just put it on there, so it's actually on there now, so definitely scroll through the FAQs. There's a lot of information there for both first year and transfer students.
Great, thank you so much for that great info. So at this time, we'll go ahead and go around our panelists and go ahead and have everyone just kind of do a final farewell or some words of wisdom, any type of last final statement that you'd like to share with the audience today. And what I'll do, I'll go ahead and start with Haley. You're the first one I see on my list, on my screen. And then Haley, once you're done, you can go ahead and toss it to one of your colleagues.
Perfect. You know, I think I'll just reiterate, get involved on campus during your time here, make the most of it. We know that Merced is not, you know, some big city like some of our other campuses, but it's really what you make of it. I really enjoyed my time here, and you know, that's another reason why I came back as a staff member, because I just love the culture. I love our students. So I just really hope that you all make the most of it. Take any opportunities that come your way, and just have fun. Remember that at the end of the day, yes, school is important, but also to have fun, and don't put so much pressure on yourselves. And then I'll pass it over to Jim.
Well, I would say get involved, get connected, whether it be virtual or in person. One of the things I've always said that I love the most about working with our Bobcats is I truly believe they're the best student population in the country. Every year, it's just exciting what they bring to the table. So, but if you're not involved and if you're not trying to get connected, then it is like any other campus, easy to get lost. But the fun part is there's so many opportunities. So that would be my main advice to you, and then I would also say sometimes, especially when it comes to clubs and organizations, sometimes the first club you join may not be exactly what you want. So that's why there's 225 of them. So you can kind of find the couple that really help you relate to a group and feel that Bobcat spirit that so many of us talk about. Oh, I'm going to pass to Gloria.
All right. Yeah, I agree with Haley and Jim as well. Definitely get involved, and especially in terms of research. It's never too early or too late to get involved in research. If you're interested in something, ask that professor. We are a small enough campus where you can literally reach out to your professor after lecture and say, hey, I'm really interested in what you're doing. Is it possible that I can probably shadow you or just be a part of your lab? And then you can get a publication, and then you get all these really cool things with your name on it, and it's yours. But yeah, definitely get involved, and don't be afraid to ask and reach out for help when you need it. This campus is small enough where we will know, everyone knows each other. Professors will know you, they'll get to know you very well, especially depending on what major you are. So definitely reach out to professors, especially if you really want research and other opportunities. So then I'll go ahead and pass this on to Bree.
Awesome. Well, there's no guess as to what I'm going to say. I would highly recommend studying abroad and planning it as early as you can, because y'all, it will change a lot. The way that you look at the bubble that we live inside of and seeing it from a different lens. Whatever country that you decide to go to, I'm putting that in existence because you are going. Um, it is something very important to take on and plan for your own future, possibly even studying abroad more than one time during your undergrad career. And that is something that I really push for. And even when you get back to campus or while you're on campus, the community that you build on campus will be with you whenever and however far you go away, and they will be here when you return. So you might even be able to plan a broad trip with a few partners if you want to. So that'll be great also. So really encourage doing some research about studying abroad and getting your foot in the door internationally, because I have a lot of colleagues now that are across the globe, and people that I will be in contact with for the rest of my life because I took that risk and I studied abroad. And professors who not only will be able to write me recommendation letters, but who I can invite to one of my future events if I ever get a TED Talk. Those type of things are things that I really push for, and that study abroad can do for you. And also the community on campus that we are building within our office is also going to be there for you. So I highly encourage looking into studying abroad, and just making the most out of your undergrad, because it flies by. I can't believe my 5 years is just gone, like, shoo, flew away like a balloon, kind of without helium right there. So I highly recommend doing that. So I hope to see you soon. And I'll pass it on to, wait, who went? Did Sheila go already? Sheila.
Hi everyone, thanks. I think my final advice would be don't be afraid to take chances, and it's okay if your friends don't want to join the same club or research or class as you, because you have to remember that in college this journey alone is also getting your foot into the unknown and trying out new things. So if your friends or your friends don't want to join, or you don't know anyone, don't be afraid, take the chance. I can't tell you just how many friends I've made throughout my college years, just by joining a club. And at first I was anxious, I was nervous, but it's about taking that chance. So don't be afraid to take chances, and also always try. You never know unless you try. So if you're nervous about research and you're not sure if research is meant for you, you don't know until you try. So take chances and do try, because unless you've actually tried it, you won't know. So that's my advice. It's pretty simple. Take chances and try all opportunities that are available to you. And with that, I'm going to pass it to my colleague, Jacob. I don't think you've gone yet, right, Jacob?
Thanks, Sheila. So everything that they said is super poignant, and I think what Sheila just said is super important too. The willingness to take risks on yourself and to believe in yourself, because you really matter, and you actually make us better. And that's why we're really excited for you to join us. And we're just a few members of a really big team that's rooting for you and ready for you to succeed. So come in ready to take those risks, to try new things, like Sheila said, and we'll be there to support you. There are so many different offices for several of the questions that didn't get answered too, whether it's around professions, athletics, undocumented services. There are so many different departments and colleagues that we have that are stoked for you to come and ready to support you as you climb and as you grow. So
And I believe we have Mariah and Amandeep that still need to do their wrap up. So Mariah, would you like to do yours next? And then Amandeep, you can wrap it up for us.
Absolutely. Everyone else has made such great points about making sure you try new things. So I guess I'll add that something that's been significant to my own educational journey is to speak to your professors, talk to them, ask them questions about how they got to where they are today, because my professors are what inspired me to go above and beyond within my own educational career. And as a community college transfer student, that's something that I didn't do at my community college, and I didn't realize how much information I missed out on. So find a professor that has research or is an expert in whatever you are hoping to pursue in the future, and ask them as many questions as you can about it. Go to their office hours. They're always willing to express how they got to where they are today, and I think that was a very, very important part about my educational journey. So I would highly encourage you to speak to your professors. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Amandeep so she can give you some words of encouragement or some advice.
Thank you, Mariah. I think I didn't mention this in the beginning, but I'm also an alumna from UC Merced. So one thing that I will say is definitely branch outside of your comfort zone. It's easy to come into the university and get stuck in the rut of just, focusing on your academics, because that is super important. But also remember all of the other experiences that you can have if you just go out of your comfort zone a little bit. I know that when I first started out at UC Merced, I was very shy. I didn't really get involved in anything, but after my first year, I applied for one internship, and that one internship changed my whole college experience for me and opened up so many other doors. So it's really important to put yourself out there. There's so many people that are willing to help you get to where you want to be. So don't be afraid to ask for help when you do need it as well. So we all are looking forward to having you on campus this upcoming fall. Welcome to UC Merced, and thank you for joining us today for this presentation and panel.
Thank you so much, Amandeep. I will go ahead and share a contact page now with everyone. So you should be able to see now on your screen a contact us information page. And so you'll see there we have lots of social media channels that you can be following the admissions office on. Highly recommend that. And then there's also a number and email address for the Office of Admissions. So the email address you see there is admissions@ucmerced.edu. The phone number is 209-228-7178. That does go directly to the Students First Center. So the Students First Center, if you're not aware, is a one-stop, and they can answer questions related to admissions, registrar, and financial aid. Also, they can oftentimes address your billing questions and some other general topics. And then one of the best things that they do as well is that they have connections to pretty much every office on campus. So if you do have a question that isn't exactly covered in their expertise, they will definitely make sure that you get connected to the right department, and sometimes even a specific person, to make sure that you do get all those questions answered. So yeah, one last thing I did want to mention, we did have a lot of questions coming in about what may be happening in the fall due to the COVID-19. And so what I'd like to do is just in the chat, I can list the website that does have all of our emergency information and COVID-19 updates. If you'd like to jot it down, it's either in the chat there, or it's emergency.ucmerced.edu. On that website, you will see a link at the top that does say COVID-19 updates, and that will take you to a website that gives you a bunch of different links that are that they're referring to as campus communications. So at this time, I think we're all pretty much in the same place with this topic. None of us have a crystal ball to know exactly where things are going. So we are taking it day by day, sometimes hour by hour. All of our university administrators take this very seriously, and we want to make sure that our campus community, both students and staff and faculty, that everyone stays safe during this time. So I don't have a specific way to answer that question other than just to encourage you to just rest assured that we are taking it very seriously. We are following both the local, the county, health department policies and guidelines, as well as state and nationwide, all of those advice things that you're seeing on TV. So we are taking all that into consideration. So I don't have a specific response, but that website is the best place to get the most accurate and up-to-date information regarding how things may be moving forward at UC Merced related to COVID-19. So at this time, I'd like to just remind you that my name is Ricky Hill and I'm the e-recruiter here at UC Merced. A great thank you to all of the attendees and participants today and everyone on our expert panel. So we just definitely appreciate your attendance, and we're grateful that you continue to show up to these great online events that are part of the Admitted Student Webinar Series. Like I mentioned at the start of the session, you can definitely check those out, and we have some recordings that are there from past events. Again, the website is admitted.ucmerced.edu/webinars. And one last time, admitted.ucmerced.edu/webinars. Once again, on behalf of the University of California, Merced, my name is Ricky Hill and I'm your e-recruiter. A big thank you for your attendance today. Have a wonderful day.